Thousands of children and families in Marion County struggle with issues like poverty, substance abuse, or mental and emotional illness. Many local services exist to help families in crisis, but families often don't know about these services or can't get to them. Unmet needs can result in child abuse, neglect, or juvenile delinquency. The Early Intervention Planning Council, through the Marion County Commission on Youth's Early Intervention and Prevention Initiative, has created a plan to give families earlier access to services in the hopes of reducing the number of children who get abused or neglected or turn to delinquent acts. We hope you enjoy our monthly program, Our Kids, Our Families, Our Communities, and learn more about the local services here to help you.
Hi, my name is Shana Martin. I'm the director of the EIP initiative at McCoy. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Our Kids, Our Families, Our Communities. Today's show is all about the importance of fathers and the role that fathers play in the lives of their children. And as you're watching this show, I'd like you to think about a few statistics. Kids who do not have involved fathers are 32 times more likely to be runaways or be homeless, are 9 times more likely to drop out of school, are 20 times more likely to develop behavioral problems, are 10 times more likely to abuse drugs, are 20 times more likely to go to prison, and are 5 times more likely to commit suicide. So those statistics in and of themselves show that fathers are really important and play a wonderful role in their children's lives. And as we focus a lot on the prevention of child abuse, neglect, and delinquency, we'll also talk about the fact that fathers play a protective role because as we see on the news, often moms' boyfriends are the perpetrators of physical abuse and sexual abuse against those children. So we want to make sure that it's really important to note that fathers being involved in their children's lives is also helping to protect their children. So let's take some time to meet our guest today, and you guys can talk a little bit about yourselves and the roles that you play, both as professionals and as fathers and as involved fathers involved with some of the professionals. So Brian, we'll start with you since you're a seasoned veteran on this show. We'll have you go ahead and start.
Hi, my name is Brian Carter. I'm with Dads Incorporated, and we're under the Villages umbrella, and been a father for 24 years. I've got 2 boys, and worked with the Villages for 20 years, and with Dads Inc. Since 2012, and really see the need for working with fathers. It's actually a pleasure to work with fathers, as I am a father. We're kind of in the same fraternity, if you know what I mean. Really enjoy working with fathers and seeing fathers be successful.
Okay. Thank you. Randy?
Yes, I'm with the Forever Fathers program through the Children's Bureau. We are a prevention program that we work with the dads in the community getting referrals from various places. We offer both case management and home-based therapy. So I'm the home-based therapist on the team. And some of the services I provide are just, dealing with anxiety, depression, issues of, communication back and forth between dad and mom, helping dads better understand their parenting roles. So really a wide range of services offered for them to help themselves be better fathers. I'm a father of 3 myself. I have a kindergartner and a first grader, and also a 2-year-old. So I just really enjoy working with dads because I think, like you mentioned, just the important role that they play. And as a social worker, having my master's degree from IU, I really feel and see the need to really engage men in the community. Sometimes I really see them overlooked in different services throughout the community, and just overlooked in schools, overlooked in the child welfare system, and just so just those different avenues. It just plays an important role to really plug them in and get work with them.
Okay, great, thank you. Anthony?
Well, I'm Anthony, father of a 6-year-old daughter. I've been with the program, Forever's Father program, for 2 months now, I believe. And I got in contact with them to help with some stress issues I had when I got divorced, being a single father now, going through some things personally and needed some help. And I've been really impressed with the resources and help that I've received from the Fathers Program. It's been really good for me so far.
Okay, good deal. Well, thank you. Well, thank you guys all for taking some time to be here today. So I really appreciate it. We get the perspectives of three fathers. So fathering from a 2-year-old all the way to a 22-year-old. So that's really great. So tell me a little bit about what are some of the barriers that fathers face today when it comes to parenting their children.
I believe that a lot of times, as Randy has said, fathers are sometimes underestimated, just kind of counted out because they're not in the home. Sometimes people believe that they're not, they don't care, and so agencies or entities don't reach out to them or consider them when they're thinking of family, when they're making plans for family. A lot of times the father is the afterthought. And it should not be that way, because there are a lot of fathers that may not be in the home or may have some things that are getting in the way, communication issues in their relationship with the child's mother, but that does not mean that he's not a good father, that he doesn't have a desire to do.
And I think one of the things, kind of adding on to what Brian said, I think one of the things that's overlooked in the community is that dads aren't necessarily looked as the nurturing parent, and because of that, if there's issues at school or whatever the case might be, moms are the ones that are looked at as dealing with this, with these things. Which, I mean, to their credit, a lot of times there are a lot of single moms out there, and so they have to deal with those issues as well. And so it's just easier to sometimes look at mom as the nurturer in dealing with those type of issues. But I think one of the things also is the fact that again, dads aren't necessarily seen as the loving type. We parent differently. We respond to the needs of our kids differently, and so sometimes I think that's one of the reasons why it's a barrier to get overlooked.
Okay. So Anthony, from your experience, what are some of the barriers that you have found to be as being a father, particularly one who's divorced?
Well, a barrier for me is being able to see my daughter as much as I want. Like they was saying, sometimes I feel like I'm left out. Like maybe my ex doesn't think I want to be part of my daughter's life more, which I do. If it was up to me, I'd love to see her every day, but sometimes it's just not possible. For me, seeing her more often is a big barrier for me.
Okay. How is, what are some things that you talk to fathers about, or what have you learned about how to overcome the communication barriers? Because I know that is a big thing, that adults get so focused on what they've got going on, their hurt, their anger, they forget about the kids that are involved. And so how do you talk to fathers about how to overcome that? Do you involve the mothers in that at all?
I think for me, one of the biggest things I've seen so I've been with the program since December of 2013, so just 9 months. But one of the things I've seen a lot, especially with when there's non-custodial fathers involved, I see the child sometimes becomes a pawn or a volleyball back and forth, and well, you need to do this, or you're not going to be able to see your son or daughter, whatever the case might be. So I think a lot of times dads get wrapped up in well, she does this and she does that and she does this and she does that. A lot of things I talk with my dads about is, what can you control? You can control yourself. You can control how you respond to mom. You can control how you respond to your kids. And if they see you coming back as being demonstrative, it just gives mom an opportunity to say, see, I told you so. I told you so. And so I think, really working on co-parenting and kind of saying, kind of separating the relationship that you had with mom at one point and kind of saying, now this is a different relationship. You're the mother of my son. You're the mother of my daughter, not my ex-wife or not my ex-girlfriend or whatever the case might be. So kind of reframing what your relationship with mom looks like.
I totally agree with what Randy is saying. When I talk to fathers, and I do have opportunities through parenting classes to speak to moms too, and just really get them to understand that the child didn't ask to be, placed in this world. This was a choice that was made, whether out of passion or, it was a choice that was made by the parents, and therefore they must realize that, outside of violence, there is a no matter what clause, and you've got an 18-year minimum contract between each other to, commit to enriching this child's life, and that involves both of you all, and I let them know that sometimes time does heal wounds, but so does maturity. So growing up and understanding we may not have meant to be together as far as a relationship, but we have the child, and this is our project for a long time.
So there's always going to be a relationship
Absolutely.
there. It just looks different than what it looked like when the child was born. So.
And the reframing of that for all involved.
Yeah.
So what strategies have you been able to use, Anthony, in trying to improve the communication and the relationship?
Well, I'm actually guilty of what they was just talking about. And it's crazy that came up because I think it was like last week, me and Randy was talking about that exact situation, how I would use things my ex-wife did, and it would kind of get in the middle of my daughter and me. And after our conversation that I had with Randy, I realized that I need to just keep it about my daughter. And, like how he said, she's my ex, but she's my mother of my daughter, and I need to keep it with just that. And the relationship I had with her is in the past, and I should just let that go, which I'm working on. I haven't completely let it go yet, but it's getting there.
Yeah. That's a tough place to be. I'm a divorced mother, and so it is hard. I mean, even from the mother's perspective, it's a challenge. I think, as a social worker, it was a little easier for me to try to remember that it's about her, it's about her, it's about my daughter, and letting the rest of it go. But it takes time, it takes practice, it takes support, good support from people, not the folks who are always bad mouthing, but and for us, to educate them as well that. It is no longer about the relationship other than the relationship that we have to share as parents, and how can we do that to the best of our ability, because the children really are the ones who suffer at the end of the day.
And I think if I can add real quick with one of the things with Anthony and I, what we've kind of talked about is not necessarily just throwing all those memories away, but seeing how has that helped you to grow, how has that helped you to become who you are today, and where you want to go as a person and as a parent. So, not that relationship, while you need to separate it, you have to just throw it away completely, but really realize and reflect on how has that helped me grow as a person. So.
And I remember one of the things, and you have to go through the little divorce class here before you can get divorced, that time is the most important thing to kids. Not the child support, not what parents buy for them or give them or provide, but it's the time. And again, I think when you co-parent, you have to remember that regardless of what you think that other parent is or isn't doing right or wrong or correct or pisses you off, but it's the time that kids need to spend with their parents, with both parents, including their fathers who may not be in the home. So people talk a little bit about, and you talked about this a little earlier, that moms are kind of the nurturing parent and have some like maternal instincts. Well, what about dads? What instincts do dads have? What are things that just come naturally as part of being a dad that moms don't have?
I wouldn't say moms don't have this, but I will say that dads are protectors. They're natural protectors. They are structure people. They provide structure, and that's very important in a child's life, from being, safe as a baby, all the way to, boundaries and different things that need to be put forth for teenagers. Mm-hmm. So I believe that dads definitely provide that. Dads are fun-loving. Dads like going out and doing things that are physical, and not just sports, but, other things. And so I believe that is a good contributor to, raising a good child.
Anthony?
You took the words out of my mouth. When you asked that question, first word popped in my mind was protector. For my daughter, I just couldn't imagine her getting hurt, and that I just want to wrap my arms around her and keep her in my arms forever. That's all I want to do.
I think for me, it's the sense of adventure. I think one of the things that men a lot of times just within us is who we are innately is that we have a sense of adventure, and being able to be okay with the kids going down closer to the lake than maybe what mom would, or the way we wrestle with them on the floor in a different way. Or there was a picture I remember seeing on Facebook one day. It had dad throwing the kid up, and it says how dad sees it, and it was only like this far, and it's like how other people see it and how mom sees it. So like that, just an increment of so just that sense of adventure. And I guess I wanted to touch on real quick on maternal instincts. I think one of the things that's important to often remember, I also teach a expectant fathers class up at IU North. Okay. And one of the things that I've been doing that for about 5 years. While I think a lot of times new dads have a struggle of how am I going to care for this child, I think the sense of maternal instincts are sometimes false, in that moms also have fears of what is it going to be like to raise this child, or especially in dealing with postpartum depression, postpartum mood disorders. Am I going to be a good mom? I think just because we as a society think that moms all of a sudden have this maternal instinct, that they don't have any concerns or fears either. I think it's important to realize and recognize that it's new for everybody. So I just wanted to hit on that too.
No, great. Those are great points, and I appreciate that, because as moms, we certainly don't know it all. Certainly have a lot of fears and worries, and
so I think that's why sometimes dads take a back seat, because if you all of a sudden have this maternal instinct that you know how to raise this child, so I'm just going to step back and allow you to do it. And I think that's where sometimes that wall comes up of,
because moms are going, I need help inside. Yes. We're going, help. Yeah. Good deal. So what education is available? I mean, you guys have talked a little bit, or you can talk more about the services that you offer and the ways that you help. And then what else is available? And Anthony, even you can talk about what else in the community you've tried to find or seek out, what books are available, what resources to help dads in particular, but I mean, just parenting generally.
I would say that we are really living in a good time in Indianapolis. There, Dads Inc. and Children's Bureau are part of the Indiana Coalition of Fatherhood, and there's the Fathers and Family Program, which is just very historic about what they're doing. But Dads Inc., what we do is we team up with Prevention of Child Abuse Indiana, and we go into the prison system, we go in the community, we go to the juvenile, we go churches, you name it, educating fathers on how to protect their kids. We talk about shaken infant syndrome. We talk about all the safe baby things, safe sleep, that sort of thing. And I think that men, hearing it from men, I know that historically you would hear this at the health center or something, dealing with a clinic or something. But when another man can come in and say, hey, we're going to talk about fatherhood and related to these things. The statistics are out there that actually it's men that are shaking the boys the most. And so we've got to talk about this. We got to address this as men. So we do that. We also talk about stress and how stress can lead to family violence. I have a Nurturing Fathers class, and that's just about building good dads, reflecting on how they were raised, whether it be in good or bad. We have discussion about that, and then we empower them on what they can do, make plans, men plan, and on that sort of thing. So and then we do fun things. We have a fairy tale ball that's coming up in October. That's for daddies and daughters.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very
So,
nice.
we just kind of try to be holistic about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, just kind of following up on what Brian said, there's definitely several other organizations that aren't represented here today. Fathers and Family Center, like Brian said, historically has done a good job in education for those who need their GEDs, want to go on to college to better themselves in their careers, employment, things of that nature. So, historically, I think in Indianapolis, that's been kind of one of the long-running programs for fathers, even when fatherhood programming wasn't necessarily the it thing. The Indiana Fatherhood Coalition is doing a real good job in getting out and really addressing at different organizations that haven't historically focused on fathers. How can you work and include dads? Our program, the Forever Fathers program, we, like I said in the intro, doing case management, prevention type stuff. How can we help you sustain? How can we help develop a long-term goal for you to find employment, get housing, and be linked with food stamps or CCDF, things that historically mom has been the focus of. And so, we have a lot of single fathers in our program that whether it's mom has left, whether it's widowed fathers, we have, I would say, a good chunk of our clientele are single dads that just haven't necessarily needed these resources before, and they just don't know where to go. So kind of getting them linked. And also all pro dads seeking out a variety of different services that they offer as far as getting them connected in their schools and being connected with their kids that way. Finally, one thing that we offer are fatherhood programming as far as groups are concerned. We have 2 groups that meet on Mondays, and those are on our website, on childrensbureaus.org website. And we are implementing the 24/7 Dad program through the National Fatherhood Initiative, and just really talks about how to be a good father, what's the differences between moms and dads, and what you have to offer your children. So I'd really encourage folks to check that out as well. And those are free program, free group. So.
Well, for me, I'm new to this. I honestly didn't know there were so many resources for me. Honestly, before I got into the program with Randy, I felt alone, like I didn't have anybody in my corner, I guess I should say. And then I'm really thankful I found them, because they're helping me find a job, because I'm unemployed right now. And there's so many choices that they're providing me. I'm not feeling as overwhelmed as I was before, and I'm really thankful that there's things out here for fathers like me, because if there wasn't, I really don't know where I'd be right now, and I'm just really thankful that I have this opportunity and being on TV. it's new.
You're going to be a star. The services that fathers can access, do fathers have to be in a system? Do they have to pay for this? How do they get to you?
Well, with our Nurturing Fathers program, it's just open, and they can look on our website, villageskids.org, and check that out, because we're starting it September 17th.
Okay.
So it's a great opportunity. It's a 13-week course. We have incentives, so if they need assistance with transportation and that sort of thing. And then we actually are going to reward them with a little bit of a gift afterwards, because it's just all about, it's evidence-based, and it's all about helping out. There's a small fee for the events that we do.
Okay.
But as far as like classes and being able to address fathers with prevention and that sort of thing, all of those things are free of charge.
Okay.
Our program is free as well, and so we do offer. So with Forever Fathers program, the two stipulations, if you will, is that individuals can't have an open child welfare case with the Department of Child Services, or be involved with, I guess three, be involved with juvenile court, or be linked with Healthy Families at this point, at this time. So that information again is on our website at thechildrensbureau.org under Forever Fathers. We also offer, we do have a program for fathers who are involved with the child welfare system called the Father Engagement Program. One of the things that Indiana has done really well with in the last several years with the child welfare system is try to include dads and look at dads as placement. And so we offer a lot of supportive services, advocacy, and communication with the case managers back and forth in DCS. So.
Okay, great. Anthony, any words of wisdom that you'd like to share with all the fathers who may be watching this show today?
I guess the only thing I would say, for me, I held back in contacting them because I knew about the program maybe a month before I actually contacted them. And I guess maybe I thought I was a little scared or worried that I don't need help. I can do this on my own. Maybe my advice would be, don't worry. Everybody needs help, and I needed it. Even though at the time I didn't think that I did, and I'm just, don't be afraid, and give them a call because it definitely helped me.
Okay. Are things starting to improve between you and your child and the mother of your child?
I believe so. It's slow. Like I said, it's only been about 2 months, a little over 2 months, but I see a change, and it can only get better. So.
Well, good deal. Well, thanks again for being here. Really appreciate you guys taking time and taking time to share information about the services that you offer, but then also just to have a great conversation about the importance that dads play and the role that they play. Because I think you're right. I think a lot of times fathers do get forgotten, and we don't recognize the important role that they do play. And I think we need to do better of that as a system, as a community, as family members, to be more supportive of dads. And as divorce rates continue to go up, as moms, as how we work better with dads to really co-parent and remember that it's the best interest of the child. I mean, that should always be the focus, best interest of the child. And as adults, we sometimes have to let our stuff go, push it away, we deal with it later. But it really is best for kids to have great relationships with their moms and their dads. And I have yet to meet a parent yet that didn't want to be a good parent. All parents want to be good parents, regardless of where they are on the continuum, where they are in parenting, whether they're in prison, whether they're not. They all want to be good parents. They all want the best for their kids. And but we all need help. Like you said, we all need help. We all need support. I think I'm super mom, but I couldn't do it without the people that I have in my life to help me and to support me and to continuously encourage me. So just thanks again for you guys being here. Really appreciate it. Thanks to everyone who tuned in for this episode of Our Kids, Our Families, Our Communities, and look forward to seeing you again next show. Thank you.